It was a long time before anyone spoke. Out of the corner of his eye, Fauch could see the sea of tense, expectant faces down in the square outside. "We're going to get lynched, aren't we?" he whispered. "It was a tough assignment," said Deep Thought mildly. 42, yelled Loon Qual. "Is that all you got to show for 7.5 million years of work?" "I checked it very thoroughly," said the computer. "And that quite definitely is the answer. I think the problem, to be quite honest with you, is that you've never actually known what the question is." "But it was the great question, the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything," howled Doomqual. "Yes," said Deep Thought, with the air of one who suffers fools gladly. "But what actually is it?" A slow, stupefied silence crept over the men as they stared at the computer and then at each other. "Well, you know, it's everything. Everything," offered Fauch weakly. "Exactly," said Deep Thought. "So once you do know what the question actually is, you'll know what the answer means." "Oh, terrific," muttered Fauch, flinging aside his notebook and wiping away a tiny tear. "Look, all right," said Lunqual. "Can you just please tell us the question? The ultimate question? Yes. Of life, the universe, and everything? Yes." Deep Thought pondered this for a moment. "Tricky," he said. "But can you do it?" cried Lunqual. Deep Thought pondered this for another long moment. Finally, "No," he said firmly. Both men collapsed onto their chairs in despair. "Well, I'll tell you who can," said Deep Thought. They both looked up sharply. "Who? Tell us." Suddenly Arthur began to feel his apparently non-existent scalp begin to crawl as he found himself moving slowly but inexorably forward towards the console. But it was only a dramatic zoom on the part of whoever had made the recording, he assumed. "I speak of none other than the computer that is to come after me," intoned Deep Thought, his voice regaining its accustomed clamatory tones. "A computer whose merest operational parameters I am not worthy to calculate, and yet I will design it for you. A computer which can calculate the question to the ultimate answer. A computer of such infinite and subtle complexity that organic life itself shall form part of its operational matrix, and you yourself shall take on new forms and go down into the computer to navigate its 10 million year program. Yes, I shall design this computer for you, and I shall name it also unto you, and it shall be called the Earth." Fauch gaped at Deep Thought. "What a dull name," he said, and great incisions appeared down the length of his body. Loonqual too suddenly sustained a horrific gasp from nowhere. The computer console blotched and cracked. The walls flickered and crumbled, and the room crashed upwards into its own ceiling. Slarty Bartfast was standing in front of Arthur, holding the two wires. "End of the tape," he explained. "Safford, wake up!" "What? Hey, come on, wake up! Just let me stick to what I'm good at, yeah?" muttered Safford, and rolled away from the voice back to sleep. "Do you want me to kick you?" said Ford. "Would it give you a lot of pleasure?" said Safford blearily. "No, nor me, so what's the point? Stop bugging me." Safford curled himself up. "He's got a double dose of the gas," said Trillian, looking down at him. "2 windpipes. "And stop talking," said Safford. "It's hard enough trying to sleep anyway. What's the matter with the ground? It's all cold and hard." "It's gold," said Ford. With an amazingly balletic movement, Safford was standing and scanning the horizon, because that was how far the gold ground stretched in every direction, perfectly smooth and solid. It gleamed like... It's impossible to say what it gleamed like, because nothing in the universe gleams in quite the same way that a planet of solid gold does. "Who put all that here?" yelled Safford goggle-eyed. "Don't get excited," said Ford. "It's only a catalog." "A who?" "A catalog," said Trillian. "An illusion." "How can you say that?" cried Safford, falling to his hands and knees and staring at the ground. He poked it and prodded it with his fingernail. It was very heavy and very slightly soft. He could mark it with his fingernail. It was very yellow and very shiny, and when he breathed on it, his breath evaporated off it in that very peculiar and special way that breath evaporates off solid gold. "Trillian and I came round a while ago," said Ford. "We shouted and yelled till somebody came, and then carried on shouting and yelling till they got fed up and put us in their planet catalog to keep us busy till they were ready to deal with us. This is all senso tape." Safford stared at him bitterly. "Ah, shit," he said. "You wake me up from my own perfectly good dream to show me somebody else's." He sat down in a huff. "What's that series of valleys over there?" he said. "Hallmark," said Ford. "We had a look." "We didn't wake you earlier," said Trillian. "The last planet was knee-deep in fish." "Fish? Some people like the oddest things. And before that," said Ford, "we had platinum. Bit dull. We thought you'd like to see this one, though." Seas of light glared at them in one solid blaze wherever they looked. Very pretty, said Safford petulantly. In the sky, a huge green catalog number appeared. It flickered and changed, and when they looked around again, so had the land. As with one voice, they all went, yuck. The sea was purple, the beach they were on was composed of tiny yellow and green pebbles, presumably terribly precious stones. The mountains in the distance seemed soft and undulating with red peaks. Nearby stood a solid silver beach table with a frilly mauve parasol, silver tassel. In the sky, a huge sign appeared, replacing the catalog number. It said, whatever your tastes, Magrathea can cater for you. We are not proud. And 500 entirely naked women dropped out of the sky on parachute. In a moment, the scene vanished and left them in a springtime meadow full of cows. Ow, said Saffron. My brains! You want to talk about it, said Ford. Yeah, okay, said Saffron. And all three sat down and ignored the scenes that came and went around them. I figure this, said Saffron. Whatever happened to my mind, I did it. And I did it in such a way that it wouldn't be detected by the government screening tests. And I wasn't to know anything about it myself. Pretty crazy, right? The other two nodded in agreement. So I reckon, what's so secret that I can't let anybody know I know it? Not the galactic government, not even myself. And the answer is, I don't know, obviously. But I put a few things together and I can begin to guess. When did I decide to run for president? Shortly after the death of President Uden Branks. You remember Uden, Ford? Yeah, said Ford. He was the guy that we met when we were kids. The Arcturan captain. He was a gas. He gave us conkers when you bust your way into his mega freighter. Said you were the most amazing kid he'd ever met. What's all this, said Trillian. Ancient history, said Ford. We were kids together on Beetlejuice. The Arcturan mega freighters used to carry most of the bulky trade between the Galactic Center and the outlying regions. The Beetlejuice trading scouts used to find the market, and the Arcturans would supply them. There was a lot of trouble with space pirates before they were wiped out in the Bordelis Wars, and the mega freighters had to be equipped with the most fantastic defense shields known to galactic science. They were real brutes of ships, and huge. In orbit around a planet, they would eclipse the sun. One day, young Safford here decides to raid one on a tri-jet scooter designed for stratosphere work. A mere kit. I mean, forget it, it was crazier than a mad monkey. I went along for the ride because I got some very safe money on him not doing it, and didn't want him coming back with fake evidence. So what happens? We got on his tri-jet, which had been souped up into something totally other. Crossed 3 parsecs in a matter of weeks. Bust our way into a mega freighter, I still don't know how. Marched onto the bridge, waving toy pistols and demanding conkers. A wilder thing I had not known. Lost me a year's pocket money. For what? Conkers. The captain was this really amazing guy, Uden Branks, said Saffron. He gave us food, booze, stuff from really weird parts of the galaxy. Lots of conkers, of course. And we had just the most incredible time. Then he teleported us back into the maximum security wing of Beetlejuice State Prison. He was a cool guy, went on to become president of the galaxy. Safford paused. The scene around them was currently plunged into gloom. Dark mists swirled round them, and elephantine shapes lurked indistinctly in the shadows. The air was occasionally rent with the sounds of illusory beings murdering other illusory beings. Presumably enough people must have liked this sort of thing to make it a paying proposition. Ford, said Safford quietly. Yeah? Just before Uden died, he came to see me. What? You never told me. No. What did he say? What did he come to see you about? He told me about the Heart of Gold. It was his idea that I should steal it. His idea? Yeah, said Safford, and the only possible way of stealing it was to be at the launching ceremony. Ford gaped at him in astonishment for a moment, and then roared with laughter. Are you telling me, he said, that you set yourself up to become president of the galaxy just to steal that ship? That's it, said Safford with the sort of grin that would get most people locked away in a room with soft walls. But why, said Ford. What's so important about having it? Dunno, said Safford. I think if I had consciously known what was so important about it and what I would need it for, it would have showed up on the brain screening test, and I would never have passed. I think Uden told me a lot of things that are still locked away. So you think you went and mucked about inside your own brain as a result of Uden talking to you? He was a hell of a talker. Yeah, but Safford, old mate, you want to look after yourself, you know. Safford shrugged. I mean, don't you have any inkling of the reasons for all this? Asked Ford. Safford thought hard about this, and doubt seemed to cross his mind. No, he said at last. I don't seem to be letting myself into any of my secrets still. He added on further reflection. I can understand that. I wouldn't trust myself further than I could spit a rat. A moment later, the last planet in the catalog vanished from beneath them, and the solid world resolved itself again. They were sitting in a plush waiting room full of glass-topped tables and design awards. A tall Macrathian man was standing in front of them. "The mice will see you now," he said.
I hope you're enjoying this fantastical tale. The next chapter of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy will be coming out soon.